Good morning. Welcome to Village in Motion. Today is Thursday, January 16th, 2020, and today we're introducing a new monthly feature called Throwback Thursday. And throwback means that we're going to look at something from the past. Today, we're going to be looking at a video from January 13th, 2010, looking at the decade of 2010. And this program is titled How to Enjoy the Winter Months Inside. That's why we live here at Green Spring. We don't have to go out. The host on this program was Diane Havinga, our executive producer, and the guests were Jack Burke, a resident, Brad Hibbs, our fitness manager, and Monica Amburn, who was a clinical dietitian here at that time. So let's sit back and enjoy learning how to enjoy the winter months inside.
Welcome to another edition of Village in Motion. I'm Diane Havinga, your host for today's program. And before I get started, I just want to wish everyone a Happy New Year, since this is my first time since the New Year has started. And it is, I was just commenting, I can't believe it's already Wednesday, January 13th, 2010. Or do you say 2010? There's a big discussion of how we're calling this year, but I think for me anyway, 2010 just seems more natural. We have a wonderful show for you today. It's not as cold as it has been. In fact, we're trying to get into a little bit of a thaw today, and towards the end of the week, it's going to even get warmer. But as you know, the last few weeks, we've been under some pretty cold weather for this time of year for us. And we're going to talk about what you can do to get yourself to go outside and be a little bit maybe more healthy during this time of year. Just because it's cold doesn't mean you can't go outside and do some exercise and enjoy the weather. And there are some really wonderful benefits of being out in the colder seasons. Before we begin, though, let me introduce our guests. We have first Jack Burke. Jack's been here for 5 years, and Jack is also a member of Light and Sound, so I want to put that plug in there. He's one of our projectionists here, and also a 1000 Club Wellness Center member.
Right.
Big accomplishment there.
Right, thank you.
And next to him is Brad Hibbs. I know everyone knows Brad from the Fitness Center, and he is the manager there. And Monica is back. Monica Amburn is our registered dietitian. She's usually over at Renaissance Garden, but occasionally I get to have her come over and give us some important tips about nutrition. So welcome. Jack, let's start with you first.
Okay.
Now, I know you're a member of the walking club.
Yes.
So those groups or those people here on campus, they get together pretty much, what, Monday through Saturday?
Correct. It's a 6 day a week. No, never on Sunday, at least not as a group. There may be people in the group that do walk on Sunday.
And when we're talking about walking, we're talking about walking outside.
99% of the time outside, yes.
Okay, so
there are days when it just can't make it, but basically always outside.
Okay, so when you get ready to walk, what's the first thing you do in the, to get yourself geared up for that?
Oh, just get the right clothing for this time of the year. As they say, layer it. Heavier shirt, heavier underwear, enough jackets, scarf, earmuffs, gloves, and just go out. Okay,
and we have actually some of that winter gear here, and I want to share some of that with you. When Jack's talking about undergarments, this is something, and a lot of you know that I bike to work, and some of you think I'm crazy, and that's besides the point. Sometimes I think I'm crazy. And I do bike in the winter, and one of the things that I have to do, as Jack mentioned, is you need to layer. Because one of the things that happens, as with any workout, is you tend to start sweating because you're moving your muscles. So the big problem with winter exercise when you're outside would be fighting the cold, because you're sweating, your body gets heated, it gets wet. That's when you get cold. Would you agree with that, Jack?
Yes.
So this particular garment is an undergarment, and this is 100% wool. It's called Smart Wool, and it's very light. I'll pass this around. We'll do a little show and tell because it's a really amazing piece of material. Now, some people might think that wool is going to be too itchy, but I think you'll be able to tell. It's really very soft, and it absorbs moisture. So it takes that moisture away from the skin, hopefully, and keeps you from getting cold, which can lead to cold.
Well, I'm not sure I get quite that
Okay.
cold on it, so.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
But I'm, just, so, and layering is important because
Oh, yes.
when you start sweating, you don't want to.
Right, and when you get back inside, you can take it all off.
Right, and people will attest here at Channel 6, one of the things I do as soon as I come in, if I haven't already, is I'm in this kind of the strip mold process. Another piece of garment is, this is what they called wick wear, and wick tends to help to take the moisture, again, away from your body, putting it outside so that it's not next to your skin. And it's, again, to help keep you warm, not give you that cold feeling. And now some of this stuff tends to be quite expensive. But again, you don't have to invest to layer. You can do things like Jack does, which is, I'm assuming, a t-shirt.
Yeah, t-shirt, and then another shirt or a pullover of some kind. And then jackets, and a scarf. I usually get a cold around my neck because I don't normally wear a collar with a big collar on it. So.
Right.
But,
I understand that completely, and I also one other thing, and we'll stop the fashion show. But this is my latest, not my latest actually, because the other two are my latest. This is what's called a wind-stopped vest. Now, Jack, you may be interested in this, and it's literally a vest, and it's designed to stop the wind. So you have to actually go with. There's a huge label with a stop sign, and it will say "Wind Stop." And those are garments, and this happens to be a vest. I don't know if they make them in coats that are specifically designed to stop the wind.
Yeah.
And I have found since I've bought this that has really helped me, because that last mile coming in through the gate, the wind tunnel that we all experience, that to me on a bike is the worst, because the wind just goes straight down.
right.
So you may want to invest in one of these.
Oh, I've got enough clothes now to wear out. You know, I'm older, getting old. I don't need to buy a lot of clothes anymore.
That's true. So Brad, why is it so important to exercise even in the winter month?
Well, the body, of course, really doesn't take a break. I mean, granted, in the spring, the summer, early fall would be the ideal time to exercise outside, but the reality is we need to continue that throughout the year, however we can, whether it's walking or ice skating, or some will even downhill ski, but we need to continue to exercise. And obviously outside our options are limited, and that might force us to do a little bit more indoors, walking indoors, utilizing the fitness center, using the aquatic center, but our bodies take no breaks. We need to still continue to do resistance training to strengthen our bones and our muscles, and cardio to improve our endurance. We've got to keep it up throughout the year, as difficult as that may be, especially when the weather is as cold as it's been. So even myself, I won't get outside nearly as much, of course, but I'll do maybe a little bit more indoors. You have to adjust a little bit for the weather, but you still can get outside, as you pointed out, and Jack is testimony to that. There are a lot of folks that still get out there. Granted, it might be not for as long in duration, but you still can get outside and take in the fresh air and still get outside and enjoy the scenery, etc. But yeah, you do have to adjust for sure, but the body takes no break. You've got to continue to work it year long. It's just the way we're made.
And nowadays they're saying that all you need is 10 minutes. And you don't have to do that full hour. I'm not saying 10 minutes a day. I'm just saying you can take that 30-minute suggestion of working out and divide that into 10 minutes. Where, Jack, when you go out walking, you're walking how many minutes, would you say, when you take that walk?
I'd say minimum about 30 minutes. We do about 2 miles. At least there's one fellow, Herb, that walks fast with me. We're ahead of the group, but they know where we're going. We all know where we're going, so even though we're in the lead, they'll be coming in behind us in case something happened to, you know, help us get back or get any attention we needed. But about 30 minutes outside, 45 if we've got a long path or a long route. We've got about 4 or 5 routes we use. So right now, some of them are closed down because of the ice on the along the path along the creek there. But we find other ways to get our time in.
And before we get into the ice dangers, which we do want to mention, out of curiosity, can you tell us the difference you feel when you go out and do that 30-minute walk, say, outside versus, say, a 30-minute walk inside?
The scenery changes. And here you've got to walk, you know. I have a tendency, if I'm walking inside, to walk the first level over at the town center, since it's a nice square at one level. I hate going up and down stairs to go make a long walk. I don't mind walking up or down a hill, but I don't like to go up and down stairs or wait for an elevator to go up a floor. And I know the route from my apartment down here to the theater, but from the theater going the other way around, forget it. I get lost over there.
I'm so glad you're still getting lost. It makes me feel better.
Why, you get lost with it? I don't do it enough, I guess, to know the route. There are people, I guess, who do walk the whole circuits, but there's too many ups and downs over that side.
But I'm thinking in terms of your mental outlook. I mean, to me, I just feel when I go outside, there's just something about that cold air that is refreshing.
Yeah.
Well, it wakes you up. It's nothing else. It wakes you up. It's cold.
Certainly does that.
You got to move and keep warm. And it gets the exercise going and the breathing. I enjoy it. So.
And you don't, and I think it's important that Jack mentioned 2 things. One, he mentioned walking in a group. Because I think when you go outside, unless you're in, I think, the immediate Green Spring kind of area, going outside by yourself, especially if you're not used to exercising, probably is not a wise thing to do. It's better to go with a group or someone. And I think you should also, if you are going outside by yourself, definitely, I always carry my cell phone with. You just never know when something may happen. Even when it's not icy, you can still trip over a branch or something. So having a cell phone so you can get immediate attention is helpful.
Yeah. I think there's at least one member in the party. If not, I don't normally carry one, but if somebody else in the party has, I'm sure they have one with them. But again, they know where we're walking. I know where they're going to be walking. So I feel confident, safe that.
Okay. And also, I just also want to mention the fact that we do not advocate you going out when it is icy. I mean, that's probably a good idea to go join Brad and his marvelous team at the fitness center and stay indoors and avoid the ice. Even now when it's thawing, there's still a lot of ice around, so you do want to be careful about that. So I do want to caution that. But the benefits of being outside, though, yesterday I was telling our guests earlier, I took a walk with Sue Frankie along the path, which is still considerably icy, so you do have to be careful. And we were amazed. We saw a wonderful crane just kind of hanging out in the creek, and we saw a herd of deer that was kind of watching us, and we were watching them up on the hill. And to me, the benefits of being outside is the fact that there's no leaves. And you can see things that you can't see during the warmer months. So it really gives you a different perspective. Now, Monica, we haven't really brought you into this discussion. She's been, though, agreeing with all this. But let's talk a little bit about some of the dietary needs that we need and what we might tend to forget because it's the winter time.
Okay, well, like Brad said, the body doesn't take a break, really. And one thing that a lot of people forget about in the winter is the need for hydration. And if anything, because the weather isn't as warm, we don't feel like we're sweating as much. We don't feel as parched, maybe. but that means that we typically don't drink enough water. So right now with, all the bugs going around, colds, if you have a tendency for UTIs or constipation, if you're not getting enough water, that's really going to impact your life in a negative way. So you need the water during exercise, even when it's cold outside, but you also need the water throughout the day. And you've got a very nice water bottle here.
I love my water bottle. This was, and you'll see a lot of staff have similar containers. And what's nice about something like this, it's so big, is if you fill it up in the morning, you know how much you've drank. And I am amazed, in the summertime, I can kill this off, within a few hours. But there are times when I'll leave at the end of the day. Now, of course, I've had other fluids, and I'll notice that I still have water left in this container, and reminding me that I probably didn't do as well as I should have.
Yeah, and I think that's typical for a lot of people this time of year. And I would like to remind everyone that fluids in general are great. If it's not just plain water, if you're not a plain water drinker, then that's okay. You can substitute tea, coffee to an extent, but juice and milk and other fluids. Just make sure you get the fluids in. And
Are you still aiming for 8 glasses a day?
There's a little bit of controversy around that, but I say yes, especially with all of the medications and vitamins and a lot of things that people are taking. We need more water to help our bodies process all of that we're adding to our bodies. So I say let's stick with the 8, at least 8 glasses of water or fluids a day.
Okay. And what else do you have for us?
Well, kind of touching on the safety when you're going outside, you mentioned bringing a cell phone. I also really like the idea of bringing some fluids and a snack along with you. Maybe some trail mix, maybe a granola bar, something small. But if you have blood sugar issues, then that's really important to have in case you have a low blood sugar moment. Or if you end up getting stuck, maybe you trip. I've been injured out on the trail myself before, and it's not fun to be stuck without water or food. Have a snack until someone can get to you to help you. Or if you're on a trip, even if you're going out to the mall for the day and you get stuck in the traffic trying to get home because of an impending snowstorm, or everyone's out and about. You need to have some fluid and some snacks in your car as a just in case. This time of year, we really underestimate, I think, the safety issues revolving around staying hydrated and having food available, and it's just a vulnerable time of year for those things. So just keep food and beverage with you at all times.
And one of the things I noticed you mentioned when we talked about this previously is yogurt. Why is yogurt so important?
Well, yogurt is really great because it has probiotics in it. And probiotics.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, excuse me, I'll be quiet. Explain that.
Okay. Probiotics help maintain the healthy bacteria in your intestines. And research over the last few years has found that our intestines are 60% of our immunity. So that is our first line of defense to prevent from getting sick. So if we're exposed to bugs, our intestines are our first line of defense in helping us stay healthy. So these probiotics that are in yogurt really help to maintain the good bugs in our system, which help keep us healthy in lots of different ways. They also help promote yogurt in and of itself, along with the probiotics, help promote good bowel health and bowel regularity, which is very important for your overall health as well. So there's a lot of really great products out there right now in terms of yogurt and yogurt drinks.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, does it matter what brand or what kind of yogurt, or and how much?
Well, at this point, if you're not a big yogurt eater, there are some yogurt drinks out there that are like yogurt smoothies that you can drink if you don't like the texture of yogurt, that are kind of more like a milk consistency. But then there are some really great yogurts out now that have more probiotics than your standard yogurts, the Greek yogurts especially. They're a little bit more expensive, but they have double, sometimes triple the protein of regular yogurt. They tend
And
to
they
be.
taste better,
They
too.
taste really great. Yeah.
That helps.
They're very tasty. I eat at least 2 Greek yogurts a day, and I rarely ever get sick. Now, injured is something else, but but I think that's my own clumsiness.
That's another show.
Yeah,
We
it's
won't-
another show. That's another show. But the Greek yogurts, and then there's another product called Kefir. Kefir, that you can see in the grocery store, and that is loaded with probiotics. So that's a really great product to try out.
Okay, so besides, we talked about drinking water or fluids, we talked about keeping snacks. Is it more important to eat fruits and vegetables during this time of year, or is that just a given regardless of the time of year?
Well, it is kind of a given, but there are some fruits and vegetables that are more seasonal, more available right now. Some of those include like the winter squashes, oranges and citrus fruits, although with the recent cold snap in Florida, those might be a little bit more expensive. And then pomegranates. Pomegranate juice is readily available year-round, but that is a seasonal fruit that's really got a lot of extra vitamins and minerals and polyphenols that are very healthy to our bodies. So those are some seasonal fruits and vegetables that we should take advantage of this time of year.
Do I also need to be more concerned about my vitamin intake overall in the winter months than in the summer months?
I think it's something that we need to be conscious of year-round, especially if you notice that you're not getting enough of the fruits and vegetables during the winter months, for whatever reason that may be. So I do recommend a good multivitamin just to aid in our immunity. You know, there's a lot of concern over the swine flu this year. There's no research to prove whether or not, you know, vitamins and minerals can help prevent a lot of these illnesses or flus, but it most certainly makes sense that our first line of defense is, you know, our intestines, and if we're not giving ourselves the nutrition that we need, we're not going to be as immune as we could be. So I recommend a good multivitamin, just a standard multivitamin.
Okay, let's talk about that for a minute.
Okay.
What does that mean, a good multivitamin? I mean, now that you go into any grocery store, any vitamin store, I mean, there are racks full of vitamins. And now we have the men vitamins, we have women, we have children. I don't know if we have a teenage vitamin. I know we have vitamins for, quote, senior men and senior women or over 50. I mean, so how am I supposed to know what this good multivitamin is?
Well, I will say a lot of the vitamins that are on the shelves these days are really products of really excellent marketing. And, you know, the tidbits of information that are flashed on the news, you know, this happens to be great for prostate health, or this vitamin happens to be great for female issues. So these companies take hold of that and they reformulate a regular standard multivitamin in hopes that you will bite. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but a standard multivitamin, it doesn't have to be anything special. It doesn't have to be for, you know, for 65 and older. It doesn't have to be anything specific, just a multivitamin that has 100% of the RDA for vitamins and minerals, and you'll just see on the back of that. One thing I do recommend, any multivitamin is better than none, but I do recommend an encapsulated vitamin if possible.
Okay, now what does that mean exactly?
A lot of the vitamins are in tablet form. That means they're solid. So they're very hard, very solid, kind of the horse pill, if you will. The capsules are soft, and the capsule tends to dissolve more readily in our stomach acid than the tablets do. So if you're spending money on a multivitamin, you tend to actually be exposed to more of the vitamin if it's in a capsule form as opposed to a tablet form. So, but again, you know, beggars can't be choosers. So if you're, any multivitamin you take is better than none. But if you want to go for being conservative with your money and making sure that you're getting what you're paying for, I recommend the capsule form if you can.
And you also had mentioned vitamin D. So first, before I do that, when Jack goes out and it's a sunny day, is he getting sufficient vitamin D? Does he need to supplement with anything else?
Well, it all depends on how bundled up you are.
Well, I guess that answers that.
Wow, this
Jack.
time of year it's pretty bundled up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bald heads don't take cold very easy.
Exactly. Yeah, it's cold this time of year, so we're bundled up. So when we do go outside, you know, it might just be a little bit of our face that's exposed to
Yeah.
the sun, and you know, maybe we have sunscreen on, or you know, maybe we're taking some medication that's interfering with the vitamin D absorption process. So I do recommend making sure that you get your vitamin D levels checked regularly with your doctor, and if you are deficient, definitely take a vitamin D supplement. 400 units of vitamin D a day is the recommended intake. So if you know for a fact you're not getting out there in the sun very much, or if you know that you're not eating foods that are high in vitamin D, then I definitely recommend that you go ahead and take a vitamin D supplement of some form. So.
Does anyone else have any questions for Monica? I think she covered.
No.
Do you do that? Do you
What?
take multiple vitamins?
Yeah, I have a multiple vitamin and other pills I'm obligated to take because of a heart condition I had
Sure.
one time. But otherwise, I just eat a lot.
Very good.
There are benefits for exercise when you are able to do that, right?
Yeah, I eat plenty, so it isn't. I'm not starving at all. No, I eat. Usually try to get a salad at least at lunch, salad and some vegetables and maybe a sandwich, soup, whatever I happen to have available, or whatever strikes me. I'd like to have that today.
Sounds good. So Brad, getting back to maybe a little bit more of a guideline for exercising, what would you tell people this time of year that they may need to be maybe a little bit more conscious of versus, say, in the summertime?
Well, I think in the summer, the fact is we get a lot more exercise naturally because we're outside a lot. We're apt to do more shopping, going to and from places. We're walking more, et cetera, et cetera. So we have to be a little more intentional. I think when it gets colder, when you say, hey, it's too cold to go out, that you kind of bog down and hunker down in the middle of the winter, but you still need to be doing. You still need to be active. And as I say to residents virtually every day here, there's something that everyone can do. Everyone can do. You know, albeit, again, the options outside in the middle of the winter are maybe limited, but we have so many, and I'm going to plug the wellness department, we have so many options of exercise here. You can do all year round. So when the weather does get inclement outside, we have a wide range of classes, water classes, land classes. You can utilize the fitness center. There's a lot of classes that go on here on campus that are not under the wellness umbrella necessarily, but that could be dance classes, anything where you're staying active. But you have to be a little more intentional because in the winter we have a tendency to kind of, it's too cold, won't do this, won't go there. The summer, spring, early fall, we're out and about, all of us. We're more apt to get outside and swimming, biking, walking, whatever it might be, but even just day-to-day activities, we're more and more active. In the winter, we've got to, so you have to work a little bit harder and be a little bit more intentional about what you're going to do to stay fit and to stay active. And I think here at Green Spring, we have a wonderful array of activities and opportunities for folks to do just that. I think there's something for everyone that we can point to for them to do in the Wellness Center or outside of the Wellness Center here on campus. But it's vitally important that we keep moving, keep doing. It's critical. I can't emphasize that enough.
And maybe instead of taking that shuttle from one building to the other, that could be all you need to get outside is walking from one building to the other outside, as long as, again, the snow and ice has been clear. And let's face it, Green Spring, they did a tremendous job of clearing all the walkways and not having any outstanding ice issues or anything. I mean, you still have to obviously be careful. You probably have to be more concerned about the salt outside now than you do about anything else. So, Jack, one last thing. If you were to, if someone came up to you and said, Jack, how do you do it? What one piece of advice would you leave our residents
Do
with
what,
today?
about exercise?
About, yes.
Just get up every morning. That's all you have to do, get up every morning.
That's a good
Do
start.
Exercise.
Okay. And join you for the walking club.
Well, walking club, right? We always like people to come in and join.
Okay, tell me where I would need to meet you to do that.
In the lobby of Town Center,
And what time?
7 o'clock.
Oh, a little
Of course, in
early.
this weather, come dressed for going outside. It's very seldom. We did have a lady stop one time, and she just walked up. Oh, you walk outside? We said yes, and she decided she couldn't join us right then.
So,
But,
and again, walking outside,
Right.
some of the clothing that we demonstrated earlier,
Oh,
Jack
definitely.
mentioned gloves and mittens. I also have a few other items. They say mittens are better than gloves.
my wife taught me that years ago, that a glove in a mitten works great.
Which I happen to have.
There you go.
And the reason behind that is that your fingers create more warmth when it's in a mitten and
Right,
in the gloves.
They're
So-
helping each other rather than standing by themselves.
Exactly. So, Brad, one thing that you want to leave our residents.
And stay active. Keep moving. And there's something for you. And if you're not sure what that might be, visit us in the fitness center. We'll be happy to direct you. Yeah. Stay at it all winter long.
And Monica, you got the last word, so make it a good one.
All right. Drink your fluids and eat well.
Absolutely.
Sounds like a great plan. I want to thank you all for joining us today, and I hope residents will take heart. If you don't want to join Jack and his group at 7 o'clock
Well,
in the
actually,
morning.
it's not my group, it's John
John's
Kerr's group,
excuse
really.
me, the Walking Club group.
The Walking
At
Club.
7 a.m. I'm sure there are other people on campus who would be more than willing to go out and walk with you and enjoy the wonderful outdoors, because again, the key to being outside is the fact that there are no leaves and you can see things that you will not normally see in the summertime and spring, and it's just wonderful. Revisit some of those paths, whether it's around here at Green Spring, you know, if you haven't gone to Great Falls in a while, or along the riverfront, taking that walk by Mount Vernon to Alexandria, things like that, you're going to see sights that you just won't be able to see. Or even if you want to be even more adventurous, like Andrew likes to do, he likes to go out over by the Shenandoah, walking in the hikes, many hikes around there, you just get to see so much more. So I hope we gave you some food for thought. I'm going to leave you with one more thing. I hate to admit that it's been a couple of years, but 2 years ago I was in Chicago in February, and we all know Chicago tends to be just a little bit cold, especially in February. But I want to leave you with some video that I took during that time of year, and it will show you tons of people bundled up trying to go ahead and enjoy the outdoors. So sit back, enjoy this. We'll be back tomorrow here on Village in Motion. Okay, what were you with?
Rolling on a winter's night and drinking good old wine, thinking about that pretty little girl that broke this heart of mine. She's just like a butter rose that blooms in the month of June, or like some musical instrument that's just been lately tuned. Perhaps it's a trip to a foreign land, a trip to France or Spain. But if I should go 10,000 miles, I'm coming back again. Who's gonna shoe your pretty little feet? Who's gonna glove your hand? Who's gonna kiss your sweet little lips when I'm in a foreign land? Papa will shoe my pretty little feet, and Mama will glove my hand, and you will kiss my sweet little lips when you return again. A sighing wind brings heavy snow. Is as every good woodcutter knows. It fills the road, it blocks the door, it lays and stays and waits for more. The Jeffrey boys are strong and lean, the best damn workers you've ever seen. They'll cut more wood than a horse can pull, near 6 cords before nightfall. We'll get up at the break of day and hitch the Morgan to the sleigh. And as we work, we'll sing a rhyme and raise the dead of winter time.
Well, that was really interesting. It told me one thing: I don't want to live in Chicago in the wintertime. Looks way too cold. But other things that to be reminded of in that video were, number one, what Jack told us, the key is to get up in the morning and keep moving. We all need exercise. We can easily walk inside if it's cold. And water. We say this year-round how important it is for us to drink lots of water. Join us again next month for another Throwback Thursday. In the meantime, tune in every day at 10 o'clock for Village in Motion.